I'm not going to continue knocking on that old door that doesn't open for me. I'm going to create my own door and walk through that. That is a quote by Ava DuVernay, and this is the Inspired Poetry Corner. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever in the globe you are. It is Sunday morning here in Toronto, Canada, where I am. And I'm assuming it's still Sunday, whatever part of the world. Maybe it's already approaching Monday, but wherever you are, welcome. And thank you for coming to the Inspired Poetry Corner. We have another special show lined up for you today. We have a brilliant young poet that we will get to spotlight. Many of you know her in other capacities. I'll get into her bio a bit. And then we also have the Not Ready for Primetime Poets. Again, a play on words. You've heard this before. For those that don't know, maybe new to the show, Not Ready for Primetime Poets is just other poets that come in to get up to 5 minutes to recite, but they're here really to support the feature poet as well as share their poetry. Because I think once the feature has done their thing, they like to sit back and take in the other poets and see what they have to offer. This is a Sunday morning, and it's the Inspired Poetry Sunday Kind of Love. Our Sunday Kind of Love is we're here to inspire and uplift each other through our presence, through our full cognitive abilities as humans, and as poets, our love for poetry. Whatever style of poetry you write, it is welcomed. I welcome all voices, and I invite people to be respectful and responsible with your voice. That's our job as poets. So, I hope you're all doing well. I hope you had a good week. I hope you experienced a lot of success and also some failures, because failure is a breeding ground for success. So I hope you experienced the full cycle of life. You know why? I got up this morning on the right side of the dirt. If I didn't, some knucklehead would be sitting here and not me doing this. We got up on the right side of the dirt. Now we get to make it a great day. It's already been good because I got up. Now we get to make it a great day. And we get to make it a great day by celebrating poetry. It's game day, baby, and we get to feature one of our own. So I'm going to get into it because I want to spend as much time as possible with her, and then to invite the poets to come and share in their support of her. Before we do, you guys good? Right? You don't have to unmute. You could just sit there like a little doggy in the window, shake your head. Remember the old days back in the days, we'd have a little doggy in the back car window, just heads going like this, right? Let's have fun with this. Let's enjoy. Let's laugh and clap. I'm inviting you to listen, to truly listen, to be present, to step into empathy. So don't just listen with these, to listen with these, to listen with your heart. The practice of empathy is just being present and being mindful and accepting what someone else has to say without being judgmental about it. So let's step into empathy and practice our Sunday kind of love. And having said that, I'm so pleased to feature and spotlight this poet. Well, what can I tell you about Serene Poems? She currently resides in the United States in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. She started posting her poetry and photography in March of 2020 on Instagram. She has been published in several diverse publications, 2 anthologies, as well as many features from various poetic platforms. She has performed in many online open mics in the US and internationally. Serena is also a member of the Poetry Global Network as its chief design officer. Many of us know her as a co-host of P&G's popular online open mic Bottoms Up, which is she's no longer doing, which is now being picked up and being run beautifully by CP Mays, which features poets from around the world like this show. She's a survivor of abuse and trauma. Her poetry often reveals her sovereign through the heartaches, the loss, the rage, and the redemption. And you can find her on Instagram and Facebook on Serene Poems. Serene.poems. Anyway, it is my honor to introduce this woman. She's become a friend, someone that I can turn to and talk to, someone that I could say, hey, what do you think of this original thought? And we have great conversations. I think many of you know this woman as well. So I'm going to shut up and give her as much time as possible. I invite you to unmute for a second, snap it up, clap it up, give a big hug, and let's welcome Serene Holmes with the Inspired Poetry Corner.
Welcome, welcome.
Let's go, Serene.
Woo, woo, woo. You're getting all the woos today, man.
I'm all wooed up. And I have to say something, Raul, about your plain comment before we went into recording this. You have to put your oxygen mask on first before you can save anyone else.
True enough.
So
I was a bad pilot. I'm sorry.
no, a lot of people don't realize that, especially in cases of abuse. So I also have to say this poetry community on Facebook especially I have to point out how open and welcoming everybody in this community has been, just to everybody across the board internationally. You guys are so welcoming. I don't know how else to say it. It's refreshing that we can all be so different and come together and be poets. So here we go. This first one is called The End of the Crawl. Chest aching, stress pressing down like a ton of bricks. Tears threaten to spill, yet they are held back by floodgates. Burial inside the heart is underway, paralyzed. Burdens carried far too long, now beckon release. Look over the precipice, then free fall, down, down, down. Feet never touch the ground as spirit bursts into two. A black night of demons flies out one side into the sea. A white dove like angels flies out the other side into the expanse. Flesh is no more, soul now whole. The end of the crawl, back to abuse. And the second piece is, and this is in my anthology with my PGN group called Kaleidoscope Poetry. I should put a plug in there. Lakan is better at doing that than me. This is called No Space Between Us. The air is stiff like hard liquor. You and me, the space between us, is an invisible layer, bent and crooked. A window into the soul reservoirs. I see it through spirit eyes. Its hazy and lucid purple velvet rings, a Saturn-like sphere, separating a finite barrier between us. Our bodies meet in silky union. And I lost my spot, so sorry. Where we rise and fall in waves of emotions. I'm very nervous. Thank you for putting up with me. Walk into a spider web of daydreams. You are next to me, holding my hand. Our spirit meshes like flaming galaxies, floating, dancing on music notes in the air. There is no space between us. And this next one is called My Own Garden of Rain. I just wrote this one yesterday. Purple sunrise slumbers in light, daydreaming floral fairy tales, endless tantalizing nights. Loving myself for once has never felt so right. Twirling calloused clouds of pain into my own blooming garden of rain. This next one is called Topsy-Turvy Soil. Buried in topsy-turvy soil, her soul sifts listlessly, breathing suffocated air tinged with animosity. Let me read that over again. I'm so sorry. I'm not a good reader like some of you poets. Topsy-turvy soil. Buried in topsy-turvy soil, her soul sifts listlessly, breathing suffocated air tinged with animosity. Unrecognizable, bending, bowing, curling to fit, shriveling to be loved, dying to be writ, clawing, digging, grasping for a hand to rescue. The heavens heard, struck lightning into the myrrh, sunshine beams beating, morphing into healing skies. And then I do a lot of short poems too. Here's another very short one. My name means messenger of God. My skin is porcelain. Insides are hollow. This next one is called Let's Not Talk. This is a more saucy one. Work was long, but not pleasurable. Unlike your thick fingers, I still feel sliding in softly painted pink hallways where plush walls hug every inch. Dying to lay next to you, hear you breathe. It hurts to not feel your touch. Let's not talk. Let's just fuck. Pretend the world doesn't exist. Divorce doesn't hurt. My legs are separated and loss dances between them like demons. Our bodies speak in spirit words. Hot breath, lips caressing pink flesh, relishing, savoring the taste, praising her fountain. We both become undone. And this next one is called The First Snow. Like the mountains feel their first winter snow, I feel shivers clenching beneath breastbones. The long, restless weight takes a bow. Burdens Mother Earth never intended fall down. I fully surrender this disjointed life, where appendages were severed and ground into strife. The sun peaks and clowns around, kissing my cheeks with warm rays. I sprawl into the soil, unbound, welcoming this broken heart to heal from past winters of perfection, a perception of love as cold steel. The sun consoles me, whispers, the storm swept the dying pieces away that no longer exist or stay. Just like the mountains when springs bloom, my heart is reaching for light, the sun of my days and all of my nights. And I have one more. This one is called A Proper Death. I would rather be a pyramid, built stone by stone, a sacrifice made to sculpt the skies. The higher we climb, together we dive into chambers inside, where we die 10,000 buried times. And that's it, guys. Thank you for listening. I'm so nervous.
You know, it's funny. I wrote like many others, just capturing lines that I heard, and then this isn't a line. I was just watching you because you keep saying how nervous you are, and I just wrote, "We're watching courage in vulnerability."
Yeah.
right? Because I know you putting yourself out there, you know, how you feel. I'm going to keep you in that bubble for one more second and ask for an encore. Do one more poem.
Okay. Yeah.
Do one more.
Thanks. Let me see. I was just going through all my poems last night. Bear with me here. I have a lot of poems.
All good. Remember, we're here
I
for
need
you
to
today. So
thank you. I do like this one. I'm going to read this one. It's a short one. I choose the short ones. This one's called Fierce Waters. It's an older one. I think I wrote it in 22. I am a winding, boundless body of water, fiercely driven by currents unseen. Empathetic, erratic, temperamental, judgmental, and mean. Not always what it appears to be. Dive deeper into the water with me. Dark and light, I move swiftly through life, untamed and unclean.
hmm.
That reminds me of our duality conversation we just had before this.
How do you feel doing a feature?
You know, this is one of the first times I'm not as nervous as I'm not having a panic attack. So that's a good thing.
Okay.
Thank you for asking.
Well, I'm curious because I know it, like, because I've gotten to know you over the year, and I know, it's scary putting yourself out there, considering, even in your bio, you mentioned the traumas and stuff you've gone through. So I know but you're among friends, and it's funny how people, always say to get so nervous, like we're talking about ego, trying to get rid of your nerves. Good luck with that one as well. You're going to be nervous. I always tell people, embrace the nerves. Nerves let you know you're about to do something important, something that's scary, something that takes you out of your comfort zone, but you can still do it. Fear says you're not worthy to be spotlighted. You're not worthy to have your poetry heard. And that's a different energy. So be nervous. You know, every time I played sports, whether it was rugby, football, or baseball, I was nervous. I still get not so much nervous. I still get doubtful before I even do a show like even those thoughts always show up. I just don't give in to them anymore. So to me, that's what I wrote. We're witnessing courage and vulnerability. Being vulnerable. It's not a weakness, it's a great strength, actually. So I say kudos to you, and how you want to present. Because to me, the richness is in the words, right? And the performance you gave is the performance you gave, because to me, that adds to the vulnerability. That adds to wanting to actually listen to the words and go, what's this woman's story? What story can I hear through her poetry? How long have you been writing poetry?
Oh goodness. Well, I started as a child in grade school, junior high, and then I stopped in junior high. And stopped until like 2019. I started writing seriously again because my grandma was dying, and she was my best friend. And with all the stuff I was going through, I couldn't handle her death. It was very hard. So it forced me to write, like literally forced me to write.
Can I ask what stopped you from writing? Or?
Uh, just life, had kids and marriage, and, you know, life happens.
So today, after everything that you've gone through and what you've shared with us, what does being a poet mean to you?
So funny. I was just talking to Lakan. He's the head person over at PGN, and being I feel like so I was writing it. Let me start over. I'm writing this poem called God's entertainment. We are God's entertainment. And it's funny, like me and my brother, we have great parents, but you know, like everything else, we all go through our hard. And I joked around in my poem that I'm writing, and I said, my brother became a meth addict and I became a poet. So, I don't know. I think I've always had it in me to write and express my feelings, and I'm a deeply feeling person. I'm deeply moved. But at the same time, I know my weakness and my frailties. And like you said, like we talk about all the time, the duality in us, it is what makes us who we are.
Mhm.
And I'm finally able to accept the situation that I came out of. And I'm still on my healing journey.
It's a process, right? Especially
Mhm.
a healing journey. I know you're a
It's an
corporate.
onion layer of, it's an onion layers of healing.
No, it's a parfait.
It's
I
a
don't know if any
parfait. I
of you
like
will get that. That's from Shrek. I don't.
that.
Shrek and Donkey were trying to talk about an onion parfait.
Yes,
Go watch Shrek again.
I remember.
I was saying though, you're, being someone that's in the corporate world, do you see poetry in your work environment? Do you see poetry outside of when you're in these Zoom rooms or if you're sitting down to write?
No,
No?
not really.
Hmm.
No, but a lot of my coworkers love poetry and they support me. So that's neat.
So they do know you write poetry.
Yeah.
Not all of them, but most of them.
Yeah, in fact, my boss just retired literally like 5 months ago, and
Hmm.
we were very close. He's a really great guy.
Hmm.
And he actually went to we have a an open mic that goes on at a local bar, and we all just go there and you can do poetry, you can sing. It's amazing. I just have, I don't know, I just have you guys, everybody here, everybody in my personal life, I have such a huge support group. Like it's essential. You guys made me feel comfortable here today. So
Well, we're here for you. We're here. This is why we do it, right? There's no Inspired Poetry Corner without you guys showing up. So
yeah.
why we're here for each other. And going back to because I'm from the corporate world as well, and I always ask that question because for me poetry is in everything. Like when I used to do a lot of work in the schools, working with young ones, I'd always ask the question, how many of you like poetry, and very few hands would go up. How many of you like music with a song with lyrics, and they'll raise their hands. More hands would go up. How many of you love rap? And almost all hands would go up. And I always say to them, rap is poetry. A song is poetry. Lyrics are poetry.
Yeah.
But there's poetry in mathematics and science and everything. There's poetry in the trees and in nature. There's poetry in the corporate boardrooms as well. I think if you let people know, and maybe when your next meetings, say, I want to recite a poem before we get into it, you'd be amazed how many people, because you said you have many people at work that love poetry.
Yeah.
It's just that invitation is, and I think that's what we do.
Mm.
I know you mentioned your mental health or trauma. What role does poetry play in your keeping yourself balanced mentally?
I feel like it's given me, it's more of a, so I had to learn a balance actually, because it was a cathartic release at first. And then I kind of got stuck there. If people know what I'm talking about. And I kind of wallowed in that for a while. But now I'm trying to uh, write lighter stuff, and because I'm in a lighter place now than I was even 3 years ago.
Mm.
Did I answer that fully?
Yeah, that's how you want. Look, there's no template in how you should be, for how you should be. So I keep inviting you, stop apologizing about it.
No,
You are.
I am, yeah, I am an obsessive apologizer. I'm so sorry, but see, I just said it again. Oh my
But that's
gosh.
okay.
Yeah.
It's expected. I know you well enough now, so I'll say it. And as soon as I say it, you're gonna go, I'm sorry. But I'm not laughing with you. I'm laughing with you and at you because it's funny. But not in a
The
negative way,
process.
because I think we all can relate to that. And I think your vulnerability is something that we can all relate to, whether we want to show it or not. And I always encourage people,
Mm.
do not be afraid to be vulnerable, but also know who you're being vulnerable with. Right?
Yeah.
It's important that you understand your environment and those who are there. Because if you're vulnerable with someone that can't appreciate it, it may not yield the results you want. Having said that, if you don't
Yeah.
care about the results, be vulnerable, because it's something I think it's needed for us to be able to see that we're all vulnerable and we're really not different. Going back to early parts of the conversation before we started the show, and
Yeah.
we're really not different. We do the same things. We just practice things differently.
Yeah.
So um,
Yeah. And
keep it.
I have one more thing to say
Yeah,
too
go
about
right ahead.
that.
Go right ahead.
Um I feel like also this is a platform for me to express the huge loss that I had when my kids were alienated from me. And I feel like in the future they can look back and say, you know, this is what my mom did, or this is what my mom said. And in my personal life and people that know me, I've gone through quite a lot of court struggles and financial struggles and to get my kids, and it's not happened. But I do believe that I'm readying my home for them, and in time they will be with me again.
Mhm.
That's been a hard thing for me to accept. And like Lakan said in the chat, I just saw, you have to sometimes use that humor that you have intrinsically and laugh, because some things in life are so hard and so crushing that you just have to look at the bright side. You just have to accept it. And I'm not saying that happens overnight, because in our world of convenience, healing does not happen overnight. It's not a one and done.
Yeah, it's a process and it's an ongoing process. And that's great advice that he gave you, because it is true to be able to even in the harshest of harsh, to be able to laugh and hopefully look at the tomorrow will be better. It'll be a lighter day tomorrow. So you should never apologize for writing light poetry. Just like people that write dark poetry, they call it dark. To me, it's not dark or light. It's just poetry. Don't apologize for what you write and what you feel that you need to say. Right.
Yeah.
Having said that, do you have a favorite word?
Oh,
Mm.
I have a lot of favorite words. uh, I
Well,
think
give
for
us a couple.
Lacan,
Give us a couple.
a lot. Lacan said one of them the other day. What was it? Lacan hullabaloo. I was like, what?
Hullabaloo.
I haven't heard that in so long. Probably discombobulated, because I feel like that like all the time. And
Hmm.
for a long time, I was saying I need a lobotomy, because I just don't like the thoughts that are going through my head. No, I like so many words. I can't just pick one.
Well,
Like
that's okay. You
words,
just gave us like two or three, so that's good.
words are my refuge.
Do you write like what's your process? Do you sit down to write poetry? Do you wait till you get these downloads? Like what's your process for writing?
I don't sit down to write poetry. I write what I feel, so it comes out. And when I write, I visualize it in my mind, and I try to write what I'm feeling and what I see.
Right. And so
That's
whenever
hard.
whenever you're moved to do so, that's when you do it. Okay.
Yeah. So I
Well,
have a note, like I keep a notepad in my phone, and
yeah.
even if I'm driving, I can, you know, do a quick voice note.
Yeah. I haven't done that yet, but I mean, I have my pad of paper and
I do
constantly
that
writing
too.
thoughts down, and then I'll dump it into a document. Thoughts to
Yeah.
work on is what I call it. And then I'll go in there and see, okay, what am I feeling? And I don't do it every day. But like you, I don't sit down to write poetry when I move to do so. Where you are today, in all that you've gone through, and if you don't know her story, I invite you to reach out to get to know this woman. She's a breath of strength in light of the of the many things she's gone through, and like we all have. But I think it's important when we can talk to each other and learn about each other's story. A lot of times you start hearing and seeing yourself in other people's story. So I invite you to reach out and get to know her. And she's fairly open and quite funny with that laugh.
Yeah, I'm very
Where you
loud.
are today and everything that you've gone through, if there was another young person struggling, what would you share with them? What would you say to them that you've learned to this point in your life that you can pass it on?
There's so much. Wow. I think one of the most important things, and like we were talking about with the airplane thing, that's why I said put your oxygen mask on first. And I will tell you, it's something I just told a friend about a month ago who's in a relationship where she's afraid to leave because they have a child together. And but yet she's being abused. And I told her, you have to put your oxygen mask on first. And she's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, you have to take care of you first. And then you can take care of your child and the situation. Like when I left, I didn't realize what I was leaving. I was in a fog so thick of trauma. And I hired attorneys and tried to get my children out. But you have to save yourself first. And then you have to do the work. You have to put in the work to grow and to learn. And if you're not growing and learning, then what are we doing?
Right.
So I would say get help. I tell people that all the time. There's resources. Look into the resources in your state, your city. There's all kinds of resources. So that's what I would say. But
what sound do you love the most? What's your favorite sound?
That's a good question. Favorite sound. Now, favorite smell would be a good question too. Favorite sound. Gosh, that is such a hard one. Because sounds, like, I'm very sensitive to sounds. It's hard to go to concerts because it's so loud. I love like just the sound of my cats purring. I would probably be one of yeah, I love my kitties. And they love me. And when I lay down on the couch, one's on my chest and one is on my lap. And I just, yeah.
Nice.
That would be it.
What is your favorite smell?
Coffee.
Coffee.
Fresh brewed coffee. Yeah. Bacon.
Okay.
I don't love bacon, but I love the smell of bacon. Yeah. The smell of barbecue when you're like walking down the street. You smell barbecue.
I love the smell of rain. Just before it starts to rain, you smell it coming. So I love that smell. I'm like you too. I love the smell of fresh brewed coffee in the morning. This may sound odd. I love the smell of the sunrise. There's almost to me like a smell of the sunrise that you feel, that you hear. Not hear, but you feel it. I don't know. But there's to me there's almost a smell.
I understand what you're saying, yeah.
So anyway, let's wrap this up. I just think it's important that we try to get to know each other outside of just our poetry in the 5 minutes that we get to recite and so forth. So that's why I'm always grateful that poets are willing to allow me to interview them. I have about 10 questions that are a staple, but I found myself more and more I do these shows, the more I kind of move away, and like the favorite color, favorite sound. The sound of children laughter is always good as well. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say a baby cooing, but I haven't been around a baby in a while. But also as a poet, like that's how we write too, is like all of our senses. like what you're talking about,
Yes.
like what we feel, see, and think, and touch, and like all of our senses are relevant, and spirit, all of that.
It is.
Like, I think if you try to incorporate that too into your poetry, it at least will touch somebody else in one of those senses.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I think when we share of ourselves and our poetry or whatever our artistry is, our creativity, you know, it's also a way of touching each other and saying, hey, you're not alone. And, you know, so many of us walk around thinking we're alone, but we're not. And so when you can share that, when you can share of yourself freely, you know, whether you're judging yourself or nervous or whatever it is, but still find the courage to walk through it. And to me, that's one of the greatest things about this is you're watching people that are nervous, scared to death to be on the mic. I mean, you've been on the mic many times as a host, but it's different when you have to be featured, when you're kind of on the other side. But it's good to watch and to witness that. And like you said, to take it in with all your senses, right? To feel that is important. Last question. If God does exist and you're approaching the pearly gates, what would you want God to say to you?
That is a good question. The first thing that popped in my mind, I'm just going to say it. Well done. Well done. Good and faithful servant. That's all I could think of.
No, it's one of those questions. There's no right or wrong. It's whatever you say. Right?
Yeah.
And I think that's a very good response. Well done. Yeah.
The situation that I left, there was a lot of religious abuse, and I had to, and I'm still having to reconcile what I believe about God and religion. And I just don't think that if there is a God and there is a heaven, there is also a hell. But I don't think that God is going to punish us the way that I was told that I was going to be punished.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Well, I think God will, like you said, will say, well done. Because I invite people as a spiritual coach, people that I work with people, I don't care what your religious beliefs are. But I believe there's God and there's religion, and the two of them don't know each other. So I always tell people, hold on to your faith, let go of religion, right? Because at the end of the day, we don't know, and everyone has a belief in something greater than them. Well, most people do, and that's fantastic. Whatever your belief is you know, is to walk strongly in it. And at the end of the day, it's for us to be kind and gentle with ourselves, so we can be kind and gentle with other people, and be.
So we can all be in the sandbox and play together.
Yeah. Yes. And even in the sandbox, sometimes we may not play nicely, but we're in the sandbox together. And even if we're not playing nicely, can we still be respectful and loving? And even if I'm yelling at you because you piss me off, but that's part of that's part of life. Right. And because we're in this together. So anyway, I just wanted to say thank you so much for agreeing to do this. Whatever, not so much nervousness, but whatever trepidations you had in your head, I hope you've lost those. You're so worthy to be spotlighted. I think your poetry is poignant. It doesn't have to be 2-3 pages long to drive a point home. It could come in the very small lines and in the short poems. So I think it's important, however you want to represent yourself poetically, to do that with courage and strength and vulnerability. And I think you hit all three of those things today. So I say thank you. Thank you for blessing the Inspired Poetry Corner. Thank you for adding to our Sunday kind of love. Ladies and gentlemen, please, I invite you to unmute and give this woman that we all know and love lots of love and big hugs, and whoop it up for her. That was Serene Poet. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, you guys.
Whoa, Serene.
Thank you.
Terrific.
Thank you.
And I've
I
noticed
love you all.
I've noticed a difference in the year or so I've known you now, because at the beginning you didn't want to talk much about your past, and now you're talking more and sharing more. You're not hiding from it. And that takes tremendous strength. That takes a tremendous strength.
It is. I can tell just from even 6 months ago. It is like you said, it's a process. And I used to have people tell me that being kind was a weakness.
Hmm.
And like you were just saying, it's not a weakness. Being vulnerable is not a weakness.
Hmm.
It's saying to other people, look, this is what I've been through. This is, you're not alone, like you said. And yeah, if I can touch even just one person's life, then I feel like my job has been done with my poetry.
And that's all we can do is hopefully, share a bit of ourselves, share our light so it can inspire somebody else's light. Be that lit candle that can light another candle, right? And just because you're kind and someone may take advantage of that does not mean being kind is wrong. That person is just showing you the kind of hurt and trauma they're in that they're willing to do that, right? So you keep being you. So once again, thank you so
Yeah.
much for sharing your poetry and your story and your vulnerability. So give her another hand, guys. Thank you so much. And if you don't know her,
Thanks,
get reach out to her, get a chance to know her, and invite her for a video chat and coffee, since she loves the smell of coffee. So all right.
Thanks, Raleigh.
Oh, thank you for that. We will now continue on with the show. Before we do that, for those that just showed up, welcome. Thank you for being here. Some of you have given me messages that you were going to be late, which I appreciate. I will post again the list. I see one of our other poets just show up, so I have to adapt the list. But I will let you all know when your turn is coming. So look for your video chat.
I thought I was on time, Raoul, but have you cheated and changed your clocks before us?
Yeah, I had somebody else ask me about daylight savings time, but on the poster I thought I got it right, but I should have done a better job because I completely too forgot about daylight savings time. So, but it's all good, Ian. It worked out. You're here on time. You did, unfortunately you missed a bit of Serene's, but you can watch Serene's feature when I post the video. Yeah.
Probably, yeah. I'm sorry, Serene. I would have been on time.
Yeah.
I'm not late deliberately, but
No.
It's okay. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, well, you don't need to. Well, I appreciate the
it must have
apology,
been
Ian, but
great.
we know it was with no malice. And the first couple of weeks after daylight savings times is tricky for everyone, so having to take into account. So, but anyway, I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad you're all here, and I'm glad that we got to experience Serene. And well, speaking of arriving on time, because now we're about to start the Not Ready for Primetime Poets, and as tradition, I usually start off with Alexandra, and I was like, this could be the first show we don't have Alexandra, but she's here.
I would
There
have
you are.
told you. I mean, honestly, I would have told you beforehand.
Well, no, I was just talking because Ian showed up just as well, and I was thinking maybe the daylight savings got you messed up as well, but
Wait a minute. Is there a change in the time?
yeah, here in
Oh.
the east, in Eastern Standard Time, like in many parts of the world, the clocks went back an hour.
Okay, so like it's still 5 p.m. here, but is it 9? Is it 9 for
Well,
you?
right
or-
now I think we were 7 hours difference between you and I,
Yeah.
so it's just 11:01 right now, my time.
Okay, right. I didn't realize.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like I said, most people didn't.
Yeah.
There isn't, but that's okay. That's all good. Don't worry about it. You're here now.
Why can't the United States and Europe just change at the same time?
Well, maybe one day they'll get that right and get rid of it. So it's becoming, I think it's becoming more of a hindrance for most people than anything else, but it is what it is right now. So are you ready to go, my friend?
Wait a minute. Do you mean me?
Yeah.
Are you saying that I missed Serene?
Yes, you did.
Oh no.
Well, you and Ian, so you're in company with Ian. But
It's recorded.
it's recorded,
Oh,
so you can watch it.
gosh.
You can watch it. And
I
I just
can't-
told him, don't feel bad. It happens. I mean, daylight saving time, it messes with everyone. So I wouldn't
You're not
worry.
going to make me feel bad, Raoul. Don't forget, I'm the velvet voice.
There you go. I can't make the
was-
velvet voice feel bad. So, but no,
Um,
Alexandra, you're good. Trust me, you are good.
Okay, I'm really sorry, Serena.
Okay. Well, it's when you're ready, the mic is yours to start.
Yeah, I'm just I'm going to just do a short poem today because
Mhm.
of the I'm still writing the next one. So how could I let him grow old alone, his hands wrinkly and slow, doing the daily chores with grinding moves? How could I let him grow old alone, sitting in his garden, picking lemons and oranges, staring at the hollow sunset? How could I let him grow old alone, watching television covered by a blanket on the couch, no female curves beside? How could I let him grow old alone, the man who wounded me heartlessly so many times? How could I let him grow old alone, the man who cared for me heartfully so many times? How could I? And that was just very short for a change. You're speaking to yourself, Rao.
See, even the host does it. I forgot to unmute myself. No, I was saying, I said it may be short, but it's the same level of energy and appreciation that you put into every piece. So thank you so much. And again, don't worry about it, my friend. You don't worry about it. You're here now, and that's what counts. All right, from brilliance to brilliance, Laura, the mic is yours, my friend.
Oh, thank you very much. It's lovely to be here with all of you in this happy spirit and to see Serene's wonderful set. And I'm going to share the screen. Yes, there it is. So this is a picture of me. And can you see that?
Yes, we can.
Good. So this is, I did this piece for various reasons, and then still the month of International Women's Day. And so I'm going to read this. You still see the picture. I'm seeing my poem. I hope you see the picture. Yeah. So good. So this is called, This is Not About Headscarves. 1966. This is me in this fading photograph. It is early spring in Southwest Texas. I was dressed by my grandmother. I am 5, leaning against the sturdy trunk of a pecan tree, wearing a pink sweater, black and white houndstooth trousers, white socks, striped tennis shoes, and a headscarf. I am not a Muslim. I was not a Muslim, but how quickly I forgot about our scarves. In this photo, I'm smiling at my nanny, who was the whipped cream of grandmothers. I named her when I was 2 because she asked me what I'd like to call her. Grandmother, grandma. I chose Nanny. Out of the firmament, that name came. A word that echoes that of so many other grands around the world. I wonder how we know. This is me at 5. I am not a Muslim. I am wearing a flowered headscarf arranged on my head and wrapped around my neck to protect me from the elements, which in Texas are strong and sometimes adversarial. In 1966 in Texas, many of my adult female relatives wore scarves. My mother, my grandmother, my great-grandmother. So did other American women on into the 1980s to protect them, their hair, their faces from the sun, the wind, the cold, the elements of life. It made sense. This is me now, over 50 years later, remembering we used to wear scarves, that it made sense, that it was a style of the time. We were Christian Texas women who sometimes wore scarves in Catholic Mass too. Forgive me, worldwide headscarf wearing sisters, that I ever felt a twinge of unsameness when I encountered a Muslim woman walking down the street in a headscarf. Forgive me that I forgot about that time in Nottingham, UK, when I was walking in the city wearing a black coat, black boots, with my black scarf wrapped around my head because the night was bitter cold. And 2 times, white men looked at me with a hate that scraped my heart, took my breath. I wondered why, till I thought, oh my, this is how it is. This is me. I am sorry. Forgive me. You friends of my daughter who wear headscarves. You 2 young women who are among the friendliest humans I have ever met. Sisters, forgive my society that so quickly forgets, builds a wall instead of a smile, forgets there is a commonality of nannies, a commonality of women, a humanity that we must never forget. We must open our eyes. My photograph is fading, but clearly I see you there in the bombings and the rubble. And I will never accept this. I will not keep silent. I will speak out in solidarity. Thank you.
That is a most powerful piece. I first saw you recited at your feature at David's Spoken World Online. And I remember thinking, wow, how quickly we forget that our women in our societies wear scarves as well, and used to wear it, more prevalently back in the day. And we forget that, and then yet we fear other people that wear scarves or want that. Yeah, that's just such a brilliant piece, Laura. Brilliant piece. One day, many days in the future, when you've taken your last breath, someone will want to read this poem and go, if you ever want to know what Laura stood for and the kind of human she was, they might want to read that poem and say, because that gives us an understanding of your heart and your desire for justice and the desire for a better humanity. So, well done. Thank you so much. I just love listening to your work. I love listening to your work. And you recited so well. All right, thank you. From brilliance to brilliance. Doc, you, is it Doc? Yes, Doc, you're next, my friend.
Thank you. And let me start by saying, Serene, you are an absolutely wonderful poet, and your expression of emotion is superb. Now, I will just read 3 of my poems. I was thinking about reading the seminal piece of Irish poetry, American's song, but I'll read mine instead. Secrets. In hidden canyons, canyons of mind, lie secrets. Secrets of centuries and millennia, of eons and ages. Secrets of you, of me, of us. Secrets unknown and unguessed. Secrets of infinity and the intimate shape of time. This is an everlasting question. Quiet fires glow, illuminate darkest night, hopes and dreams, complicated feelings and internalized emotions about mistakes we've made. All are lodged in a consciousness, the consciousness of moments, moments of our poetry, moments conveyed to someone, somewhere, expressing the reality, the joys and sorrows, hopes and dreams, emotions and empathy of our poetry, of us. Moments which touch them, which help them to express their reality, their joys and sorrows, hopes and dreams, emotions and empathy. Each having individual conceptions of reality, each their own sense of the world, and an everlasting question. Do we make the world, or does it make us? And I will finish with Mystic Journey. On a mystic journey to otherworldly kingdoms, kingdoms in the clouds, kingdoms which rise between rivers of winds and oceans of day and night. It is a journey buoyed by the music and songs of the earth, and I stravage along unknown pathways, pathways of forever, wandering staff in hand, memories trailing behind, dreams of the future rising before me. A journey into the transcendence of life and infinity. Thank you.
Are we surprised that he was chosen poet laureate for his county? No, we're not. You're brilliant, Doc. You're brilliant. You know, we love to say you're spiritual universal, but there's just a calmness when you read your words. Because your words are quite deep and profoundly spiritual. But there's a calmness, for me anyway, when I hear you reading your stuff that kind of comes over me, that washes over me. It's almost a feeling of just saying, you know what? Regardless of everything that's going on, it's all going to be good. It's all going to be fine. So thank you for that gift, Doc. It's not just the gift of your poetry and reciting. It's what's infused in those words. So appreciate it, my friend. Thank you.
That's the response I get from our mayor and members of the city council. They feel that calmness.
Yeah.
And it has positively influenced our whole city.
Well, you know, I think you might be the template, and I think every city council and every government, anyone that's in the decision making should have a poet like you.
I only read to them at every council meeting.
Well, maybe you should read at every meeting. We can start positioning Doc and Lantern as new cabinet members in governments to bring a sense of wisdom and serenity and common sense. And then we'll throw in the velvet voice in there as well. Anyway, thank you, Doc, so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Always appreciate it. Okay. Excuse me. Up next, Susanne, the mic is yours, my friend. From brilliance to brilliance.
Thank you, Serene. I mean, I was so deeply moved by not just the poems, but the vulnerability that Raw's talking a lot about, and it's in the chat. You are so real and so open, and it's inspiring, and your humility as well. Okay, well, I also, I just want to say that I can no longer type in the chat. It's all stuck. And so I love to give feedback, but there won't be any feedback from me now. So anyway, I feel sad about that. It is what it is. All right. This is called Inside the Hungering. Houses, stores, cars, desks, chairs, beds, eyes, mouths, full of wanting. That was me too, still is, especially when I forget the wholeness that I am inside the hungering. I'm a former rah-rah 12-stepper whose life was saved and whose daughter's life was saved by addiction recovery. I would silently scoff at the over-the-moon declarations similar to the ones I just made. Oh, sure, come on, give it a rest. Sadly, my mom, a full-blown addict herself, wasn't about those groups and didn't find soul healing until her last days, when she did, after illness had worn her down, burned her coping selves, opening her to the possibility of light and love deep in her being. Broken myself when I entered the recovery rooms, would never have gone if drugs, alcohol, sex hadn't finally pulverized me. Remembering making amends to my daughter for not showing up as an emotionally here mom until her early teens. Feeding the hungry ghosts occupied my heart, body, mind. Remembering both of us on that pivotal day, sobbing, embracing, and her thanking me for my accountability and more. Not only do I forgive you, Mom, with my whole heart, but I'm grateful for all of it. Yeah, I resented you and wished my mom was more normal like the other moms. Without my pain and the addictions that numbed me, I never would have found recovery, my program. Mom, it's the best thing that's ever happened to me. Tears, 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 and falling into each other's arms. Life-changing day for both of us. We are recovery kindreds now, and we configured a new map for the bloodline. This is called She Will Be Vulnerable, Trembling. Fear, sit at her feet. She will be vulnerable, trembling. Let her feel your kind presence. Be a safe invitation. Softly, slowly soften. You might ask her, what do you need? She may open, find her words, tell you her story. If you listen with your whole being, she may cry. Care for her tenderly. She may ask you to hold her secrets in her heart, in your heart. Ask you to show her how to quiet the tormented voices, how to find safety inside herself, how to find her light. And this last one. Every spider, every crow and cloud, every apple blossom and thorn, every river and blade of glass always knows what to do, how to be, while we ask, why not, how, when, if, and lose our way again, until we remember we are every crow and cloud. We are every spider. Thank you.
Oh, I love that piece. I kept hearing Whitman in my head as you're reciting that piece. Brilliant observation of life, talking again about the spiritual and understanding and embracing the full. And I love the fact that the spiders and grasshoppers, they don't question who we are, they just exist. Where we with these big computers in our head are constantly questioning ourselves. But then again, that's also part of the journey. I'm loving the writing that you're doing lately, my friend. Definitely feeling it. Definitely feeling it. Keep it up. Keep it up. we all have our, like I said, everything we do is spiritual. We all have our form, but however you choose to express us, please do it. Keep doing it. The world needs it more today, more so than ever. So thank you so much. All right, from brilliance to brilliance. Up next, my friend Debdoot. Have not seen you in a while, although I know you've been doing a lot of stuff in your native country of India. So the mic is yours, my friend. The mic is yours. Good to have you back.
Yeah, actually, thank you so much for having me again. Actually, I was a bit busy. Last time I couldn't attend because of a mishap, but here I am again. Today I was listening to, thank you. Today I was listening to Serene poems, wonderful poetry by her, wonderful poetry by others. I found a lot right since the beginning of the show on the topic of memories. So I'll read a poem from one of my recently edited book called Yade, or it's the Hindi term for memories. So I'll read one poem from there. The name of the poem is Zigzag. Am I audible, sir? Okay.
Yes, you are.
Songs,
You're good.
Right. Songs once I sang for you, lost in the depth of feelings. Corals, pearls, stone of precious origin, treasures that lie deep in your ocean eyes. My heart has stopped, only the beat remains to let my poetry flow for you. The river meanders in seamless strength, flexing and flexing in painless tempo. Moving, swirling, twisting, turning, wriggling, never stopping to talk to its suffering. The arteries and veins smile on the surface. Deeply embedded emotions move in and out, zigzag. Sometimes motionless in suspended animation, lost in numb flavor, life looks out for you amidst the fullness of the past. Thank you so much. One short one I will read. This is dedicated to Serene poems. Actually, I thought of reading this. Did not think of reading this. Now I'm reading this out. The name of the poem is Flow. This is from my upcoming book named Crosswinds. I live in the flow of thoughts only to die with them. Nostalgia breathes in my moments of loneliness. Colors run in feigned madness to mix with the black. Truth speaks in terms of felt moments, inflamed and livid. I flow and flow as do the thoughts. Broken mirrors reflect self, each self. The injured pain cries. The injured pain cries, only to be recognized. Ambience dissolves within, poetry within. Characters create chaos, long lost thought. Words keep on taking birth, overpopulated though. Yet to live to the flow, to flow is to live. and to flow is to die out in black. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Nostalgia breeds in my moments of loneliness. That's just such a brilliant line, my friend. Your poetry is just so deep. You know, for us English-speaking people, here's a young man whose English is not his first language, and you have such a grasp of the nuance of the language. I love listening to your words, and I'm so glad I know life happens, but I'm glad you're back. I'm glad you decided to come back. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Yes,
beautiful.
Actually, yes, this book is special for me. I just got the copy of mine from the publisher in New Delhi.
Okay.
This is special for me because it got published when my uncle, as you know, he expired in the month of December. And the name of the book is Yade. Yade in Hindi means memories. It's a multilingual book which has got almost 131 poems, poets as well as poems, as I must say, from all over the world. So this book is very famous for me, and I did not think of reading from this book. Actually, I was thinking of reading some poems on power, on strength, but it's because of the featured poet, I thought of reading this poem. I hope she liked it. My best wishes for her, my best wishes to you, sir, and thank you for having me.
Thank you, my friend. And if you have your information on that book or any of your other poetry or the stuff you're doing, put it in the chat so people can reach out to you, or if they want to support you, please put it in.
Yeah, I'm definitely on Facebook. Search me. You can find me on search friend list.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. All right. Excuse me. From brilliance to brilliance, from again halfway around the world, our friend Neil. How are you going to dazzle us today, my friend?
We shall see, hopefully. So Serene, great set. I really enjoyed listening to your poetry, and in acknowledgement of that, surprise, surprise, I have a poem titled First Snow. I think that was the exact title to one of your poems. It's just 4 lines. First Snow. The rooftops glisten and gleam in dentist white, airbrushed and ivory by the winter sky last night, carpet bombed and covered in powdered snow, ice crystals lay down in chiffon bed sheets of flow. And on to something which was prompted by, the questions that Raul asks the featured poet, favorite color, favorite sound. And it reminded me of this poem called Rainbow Rhapsody. Violet vespers raise their vigorous voice to indigo incantations that once were noise. So sing me a song when your mood turns blue. Green grass whispers as the wind blows through. Plaintive pipes playing their honey and yellow. Orange octaves bow to the fiddler's mellow music. Red rage bellowed to the beat of a drum. Refrains at the rampart as zithers start to strum. So those are 2 very short ones. And if I may, 2 more, again, short ones. Just 1 second. And this one is called Rise and Flow, which I think was the previous poet's message as well. Rise and flow. Messiahs were known to favor mountains, perhaps knowing intuitively that there was some new, higher energy to be found at pinnacles, where they would realize their potential. Also learning that enlightenment was theirs only if they did not hoard it. It was theirs only to sermonize, that it might dwindle or even vanish without disciples, through whom the words and music would flow in a moto perpetuo, a flow that was more than just a flow that was more than just a pulse, a kinesis that moved the music forward, even heavenward, up where it belonged. And the last one, another short one, it's called Landing a Poem. Each poem must be landed. It cannot be left hovering above, waiting for some moment of swoop. After all, there was the takeoff, the exhilarating climb, the cruise control. That must come to an end as gravity beckons. The corridor lies ahead. The poem puts its nose down, aligns all its lines vertically, horizontally as it approaches. Now I'm afraid autopilot is not available. Poems must be piloted and landed with flair. Once you get used to it, it's like flipping a pancake. Rudders and ailerons come into play. Go gentle on the brakes now. Oh, I forgot to mention each landing is nothing but a controlled crash. Thank you.
Each landing is a controlled crash. I love it. You know, as you're reading your poems, I was just thinking, wow, how cool would it be to have someone that spent so many years in the corporate world going back and bringing poetry to the corporate world in their meetings and saying, before you make that decision, you should hear this.
Yeah,
that's a good poem to, yeah, it's especially that last one. I love that. Each landing is a controlled crash. That's so true. Well, my friend, you've outdone yourself. Thank you so much. Always. Sure. I love your short, I don't know, micro poems, short. They're just poems. They're just poetry. And you land them very well. You land them very well. Thank you. All right, from brilliance to brilliance. It's been a while since we've had this young woman. I believe she's still in Jamaica. Jennifer, good to see your smiling face. The mic is yours.
Hi, Ron.
Hi.
Hello, Ron. Hi, everybody. It's nice to be back. I'm going to do 2 poems, a short haiku and then a long romantic poem. And yes, I'm still in Jamaica. I'm here until the end of June. The first one, biding, now it's time. Lingering deep within us, evil commits crime. That was my haiku, and now a long romantic poem, which was inspired by the title of a painting done by a Jamaican, Brian McFarlane. The painting was lovely, but what inspired me to write the poem was the title he gave it. He titled it, What's Behind the Love Mask? So I asked him, why did you give it such a title? And he said, it's a complicated story. So I wrote a complicated love poem. You speak of love, of loving me wholeheartedly. You smile at me. I believe I see longing in your eyes. I feel your touch. Hot fingers burning with desire, setting my body on fire, willingly giving your body to me, seeking my reciprocation. As you cover my senses with your overwhelmingly sweet, electrifying love potion. But it seems only temporarily, though I longed for you eternally. Was it all a love mask you were wearing? Something is amiss. I sensed it in your today's morning kiss, so different from yesteryear. I heard it in the way you called my name. I saw it in the way you looked at me as you turned your head away, cutting your eye, not revealing why. Your love is waning, though my love is waxing, though I'm still full of yearning. What's behind your love mask? Can it be you are two-timing me? Now I wish my love for you was not so strong enough to make me so weak enough to be so deeply hurt inside that I feel the gut-wrenching pain, sensing, no knowing my love for you is all in vain. This hurt will hurt, leaving me in agony mentally for months to come after you've gone to the other one. Still, you won't reveal to me why, what's behind your love mask. Why yesterday make love to me so passionately, then today burst my romantic bubble, leaving my heart in a confused rubble. Was that your selfish parting gift? Flying me sky high in sweet ecstasy unexpectedly dropping me like a bomb, floating into oblivion. What's really behind your love mask? Who is, what really is the personality you have so cunningly, so successfully been fooling me, made a complete fool of me, hidden behind your secret love mask? And I can't even take you to task, as in your secret world happily you bask. Who is, what really is behind your love mask? End of poem.
Wow, Jennifer. That I guess I was telling Laura, her last poem was epic. That is epic. That's a poem I think we can all relate to, right? Questioning love, right? What was that line? Your love is waning while mine is waxing. Brilliant line. That's a poem
Thank you very much.
everyone can relate to. If you've ever been in love or questioned the love that, yeah, well done. I see Jamaica has been good to you.
Yes.
I
Lots of
love that. Keep writing.
inspirations.
I keep writing epic poems like that. I love that piece. That was well done and well recited, well read. So,
Thank you, thank you, thank you
oh,
very
good to have
much.
you back. Good to see that big, beautiful smile of yours. Good to see it. All right, from brilliance to brilliance. Up next, another brilliant man with words. General Brian Franco, you're up next, my friend. The mic is yours.
Right. Thank you. The first poem is really short. It's a form that I invented called a sanka, which is 6 lines, 3 to 9 syllables each line. And it's called The Art of Agreeing to Not Disagree. I might agree with something I don't fully understand as long as I can understand that what I'm agreeing with isn't disagreeable. And then I have 2 more poems. The first is brand new poem. It's untitled, and I wrote it yesterday in Tumblewords workshop. When my grandmother died, I shoveled a little dirt onto her lowered casket. A year later, when her headstone was erected, I placed a stone atop the grave. The same happened after the deaths of my father, mother, uncles, and aunts. When I revisit their graves, I always place a new stone atop the grave. The last time I was in Alabama was 3 or 4 years after my mom's death. When my older brother wanted to go to the cemetery, he was confused. I told him I wanted to go by myself. I found new stones in a bowl in the cemetery gazebo. I placed one each on my parents' graves. I then went back to the gazebo for a few more to place on a few other graves. This ritual of mourning feels like a sigh after a breath long held. When I put a new stone onto a grave, it feels like something new, despite that no stone on earth is new. But every stone placed into a grave becomes a memory of that person that comes to surface at that moment, that can induce laughter or tears or silence or even a conversation with the dearly departed. I've expressed to my brothers that my desire to be cremated at death and have my ashes dropped into the East River from the Randall's Island walking bridge that overlooks where I used to jog when I lived in New York City, a place where I felt a sense of zen, if zen is even possible for someone like me. Maybe the people who know that instead of a grave, I decided to be fish food will take the time to climb the stairs to the Randall's Island walking bridge and drop a tiny rock to where my soul will finally find its zen. And the next poem, well, before I do that, Serene, you know how much I really appreciate you, and what I've come to see is that you've allowed yourself to smile and enjoy life and become a light for all of us. And so that's what I see in you is light, is something really special. And every time you get up and home, it's like a hug, I think, whether it's dark or light or whatever. So this poem is called What is the Fear of Fear called? I fear everything and I fear nothing. Well, maybe that's not the right way to put it. I think I fear everythingness and nothingness. While I have never known everythingness, I have felt nothingness. Fear is a part of the package we buy when we are born into this world as a conglomeration of blood, skin, and bones with a bonus brain of human beingness. Fear happens to babies when they exit wombs into air to be slapped on the butt after birth. Should we fear those who seemingly don't experience fear? I know I am incapable of fearlessness. And personally, I have experienced a hell of a lot of anxiety in my 57 years, but anxiety isn't exactly fear. Remnants of past fears attach themselves to behaviors as irrational memories that refuse to unfuse themselves from my psyche. The psychological landscape has attached terminology to specific fears in the form of diagnoses: fear of heights, fear of spiders, fear of needles, fear of clowns, fear of this, fear of that, fear of the other. Just like the dream interpretation books bookstores sell, the teeth falling out dream was always the worst for me. There needs to be a book of all these fucking fears. Do they keep statistics on how many new fears are named every year? The deeper unmanned submarines descend into the oceans, the more new species are discovered. Is there a fear of not enough likes on social media? Is there a fear of wearing sunglasses incongruous to the shape of one's face? What should we call the fear of being fearful? Fear in its own right is both rational and irrational. The fear of fire is not the same as the fear of being too close to a fire. Why do people walk barefoot over hot coals, expecting to escape without burnt souls? People who train their minds to not fear cannot train their blood to not flow. Thank you. And my next cafe generation will be tomorrow's. And I'll put that in the chat.
Thank you. Is that last piece a new piece, Jenna?
Both of those pieces are brand new, yes.
That's I love that last piece. That's just brilliant. What do we call the fear of fearing? That's and then the wordplay in it, but just the messaging behind it. That's a brilliant piece, my friend.
Thank you.
That's one of many brilliant pieces you have, but that's a brilliant piece. I love your take on fear and the common sense that's so interwoven in that piece. That just resonated with me. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, from brilliance to brilliance.
I don't get.
Sorry, go ahead.
I want to say I don't get accused of common sense very often, so thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I think I saw something in the chat. It's not just your words, although I could just read your words, but it's you, your presence, your voice, and how you how you present it. It's brilliant. So it's a package deal, but your writing is so profoundly deep for me. And again, going back to that spiritual theme, especially that last piece, I really felt that. So thank you, my friend. Thank you for having the courage to write and to share, and keep doing that. Keep doing that. So, all right, from brilliance to brilliance, another brilliant person that, as a host, as some of you who that host shows know, you see poets over a while, and you just see the growth and them coming into a different voicing. It's the same thing with this young man coming up, the velvet voice. Ian, the mic is yours, my friend.
I just thought of a new fear, the fear of growing old. Everybody has at least one phobia. There's so many different names for different fears. And I think generally Smo's poem, that was brilliant. Yeah. So I got three. One, not a long one, then a couple of sonnets. This first one, I was up in London last week, going up to see John Cooper Clarke gig up there. It was brilliant. Lots of really good poets. And then the next day, I had a little bit of a jaunt around up the river and different places before ending up at the Barbican Centre. So this is a poem I wrote pretty much while I was there. It's called Intercity Jaunt. Feet aching, slipping through Pimlico on the way to Tate Britain, looking out onto a muddy, grubby-looking Thames. The MI6 building opposite seems a tad more weathered and beleaguered since the last time I was down this way, and all the good folk milling about inside the airy, spacious halls and galleries, while I'm taking in the ethereal Blakean spirits in Gallery 7A, etched and water-coloured in. Then I'm down the river on an Uber boat, taking in the venerable riverside sights, while modern glass and steel-clad monoliths play peekaboo over the mid-distant skyline. And here I am, afloat, swimming against the tidal current coming in, running on past me beneath Putney Bridge and on to Hammersmith. And now I find myself gazing out over a stone pot cup of coffee, sitting in the corner coffee shop in Tate Modern, as the school kids outside on South Bank sing or shout the chorus to Hallelujah, drowning out the poor old busker who's doing their level best at a credible impersonation of Leonard Cohen. But it's a grey old day, with the chilling wind blowing through here in London town, damping down fey spirits, contemplating how many potholes it would actually take to fill the Albert Hall, while their doors remain firmly closed to all the homeless souls struggling to keep those keening winds at bay. Thank you. That's first poem. So two sonnets. Sonnet number 89, Perfect Days. I went to the Barbican Centre to see Wim Wenders' latest film called Perfect Days, and I recommend everyone to go and see it. Hopefully you might be able to find a venue. I had to go all the way up to London in the Barbican Centre to find a place where I could get a ticket for it. It's one of those kind of art house films, but it's brilliant. It runs through every emotion, and it's about a Tokyo public toilet cleaner, and it's one of the most beautiful moving films I think I've seen in many a long year. So Perfect Days. What is it to live lightly in the world, to find elevation in the mere mundane, taking delight in how each day unfurls, seeing beauty in a single drop of rain? How should we take pleasure in simple joys in ways that leave no unsightly footprint on nature's pristine features, unalloyed, not marred by any muddied imprint? It is the joyful wonder of being free of the heavy weight of expectation, of seeing true splendor in simple things, to receive love without hesitation, a beam of sunlight leaking through leaf-crowned trees. These are the keys to unlock perfect days. Thanks. And most recent one, sonnet number 90, I have become a poem. Yeah, that's one of my fears, is waking up one day and finding out I'm on a sheet of paper. All my dimensions completely flattened out and I've just become a poem. Okay, so I have become a poem. My bloodlines have become drawn, crossed, and cast, my wild thoughts elaborately woven into well-balanced but varied iambs, while my biorhythms have now become well-ordered forms with accentuated rhyming words and imagery flowing freely from off the tip of my tongue, transferred to blank sheets through the motion of my hand. And these ingrained habits keep me occupied, holding me in a state living hand to mouth, and my teeth chatter idly to the patterns of hard-bitten, well-worn alliteration, giving way to soothing flows of assonance as I realize I have now become a poem. Thank you.
If there was a voice suited for a poetic style, your voice suits sonnets. It's like you look up sonnet in the dictionary, you'll get the meaning, and your face is next to it. This is who should read any sonnet that's ever written.
Yeah, well, I've got 90 to choose from.
I
I
think I've written maybe one. So, but I just
Everyone
love
should have a go at writing at least one sonnet.
Yeah,
in their lifetime.
But the
Bravo.
simplicity of your words, and your words are amazing, and there's such depth. But like a gray old day, 3 simple words that we've heard it's a gray day, but for me, I don't know why, a gray old day, just putting the old just adds so much more texture into it. It's brilliant. Seeing beauty in a single drop of rain. I love your wording. Brilliant pieces. Brilliant pieces. I felt I was sitting in a cafe on a gloomy day, almost rainy day, sitting outside and taking everything in and seeing and knowing where everything of familiarity was. And yet there was still something new in this gray old day.
You come over here to London, Raoul. I'll take you for a trip up the Thames, and we'll go and visit all the art galleries and places, drinking coffee and talking poetry and listening to the school kids shouting and screaming.
That'd be so cool. I'll take you up.
Am I invited too?
Oh yeah, of course. Anybody. Yeah,
it's a party train. But,
I want to do that.
Yeah. We're not prejudiced around here.
Yeah. Well done, Ian. Well done. The velvet voice. All right, from brilliance to brilliance. Let's stay in the UK. Lantern, my friend. The mic is yours.
Thank you, my brother. I pay homage to Serene, to Roll, and all these loving poets and avid listeners. You, my eternal lover, you came suddenly, emitting the simplicity of a sweet innocence, a serene poise and softness of voice like golden silk. There was something of the childlike naivete in your smile, your pure heart receptive to the light of inner beauty, unfurling like sweet-scented lavenders, me drinking deeply of your charisma. My queen, my beloved, you're my cutest darling. You are so precious to me. I'm like a lover whose nose is held underwater, gasping for air, facing the call of the sweet unknown, yet you remain the steadfast, resplendent light of my visionary dreams. My adorable darling, my core pulses with adulation 1,000 times that of a paramour, heart throbbing to the finest bouquet of dahlias, hyacinths, and marigolds, freshly plucked from the verdure of verdant green meadows in the mellow breeze of spring. Daybreak cocoons new beginnings, yet you emerge and glorify your name. Daybreak cocoons new beginnings, yet to emerge and glorify your name. Yet I see them, your wondrous eyes in and through me, scanning a kaleidoscope of potential promise, filling me up with vibrant energy and zest. A smile sits delicately on my lips, like the African starling to its twig, as I wonder if you'll be my jasmine, and I, your scented wafts. Alas, in this chimera of life, this fallen heart still dwells in the valley of the mundane, awaiting your deepest love to act as a panacea to my soul, cleansing it of all impurities by planting the seeds of higher aspirations. I draw on my inspiration like a superb camera, hoping to capture each moment, yet my faint heart is still entangled in shadows, and so I get only a whiff of your joy, like fresh air, like light zephyrs, fading away with dew and snowflakes. True are the words of your lovers past. True are the words of your lovers past, and I learn to rely on my agony of longing, my soul wandering, marching through life's illusion just to peruse your magnificent rays in Mother Gaia's arena of diverse and enchanting entities. You speak to me in solitude, and I hear your resonance repeating the most eloquent echoes of the I am that I am, that sweet source from whence I came and yearn to return. I see your gaze, my imperishable ocean, in this birthless time, even as you replenish your waves of nectar, like the sun does its luminance, flowing like a river in a rhapsody of delight. Like leaves fluttering in an arid desert, I have lost the keys to the utopian portals. We young lovers sometimes become intoxicated, as such we dwell in the realm of amnesia. Yet we recover, gliding like peacocks among your flowering lotuses, seeking the opulence of your celestial river. Beloved, you are the rarest of the rare, the only answer to my sacred prayers. Palms folded upright in surrender, I yearn for a source that fosters serenity, with an effulgence par excellence, outsoaring the grandeur of 1,000 moons, 10,000s. May our love continue to blend, even as the sunrise and sunset merge, laughing on the supernal shafts of wonder, narrating their own glows like Grevel, singing their cutest memories in the timeless eons of this immortal journey. London Carey, thank you.
Beautiful ramblings of the wisdom sage. Beautiful words, my friend.
Thank you.
Your Jasmine, and you. Is it I your Jasmine and you my gentle waft?
Yes.
My gentle waft. I love that. I love of all the transcendent words in that poem. Waft.
No, I think it was slightly the other way around. You are the jasmine, and I am your gentle waft.
I am your gentle waft, but it was waft.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know if I've heard anyone use that word in a poem and use it in such a romantic and poetic way. So brilliant as usual, my friend. Brilliant as usual. Thank you so much for your gifts and
thank you.
And just your poetry, just the gifts of who you are. So thank you for that. Thank you. All right, from brilliance to brilliance. Another brilliant mastermind, and he wears a hat to let you know he's a brainiac. He's a brainiac. He's the science guy of our poetry community, but he's much more than that anyway. Our beautiful friend, Richard, the mic is yours.
Thank you, brother. This first poem I dedicate to our mistress of feature, the dear Serene. This is called Spring's Gentle Power. The gentle guidance of the gods of spring seems quiet in action, yet accomplishes many things. Each new stanza of the tune as April's dance turns into May's quite merry quick step to June. Our quick step will avoid the puddles, and meanwhile our careful step the foolhardy will both bemuse and befuddle. With grace keeping time, our pace spinning, turning on our way from early morn till end of day, and so our dance across the stage enriches, entrances all save the mere befuddle. So puzzle they, and fidget to calculate the dancer's poise and signals, come what may. So will joy in all pursuits high your day, and dance footloose in joyous play. Serene. And now to my brother Raoul, whose wisdom invites this fine young lady, I offer this. This is called The Wise Philosophies. Seasoning our friend philosophy to taste, like a good pasta leaves many spicy aftertaste. And as any Taoist could tell you, sir, overthinking becomes tangled, mangled, even obscure. Wasting time with overthinking leads your mind's eye toward random blinking. Counterproductive and even pessimistic leads many a philosopher to overdrinking. The wise and quiet mind needs no such crutch. The wise philosophy can only blush. Like Lao Tzu beneath Buddha's bow tree, he's sitting quiet, his placid mind untrammeled, even cedar paneled. The skein unraveled like a kitten playing softly in a yarn basket, does he? The quiet mind upon reflection is free to follow a fresh direction. Only when our minds are quiet will we pass on passion's next inevitable riot. Silent without, the inner mantra quiets and soothes, regardless of the God's name used. Peaceful quiet, all passion wilderness transformed from riot, now harnessed to the peaceful way. Oh, what wonders performed by the end of day. And now, this bit of lighthearted rumbling. This is, there we go, wrong one. Here we go, let's try this again. If it's laughter you're after, they tell me it's good for you to laugh. Laugh once, laugh twice, deep in your life, joy you will splice. Whether chuckles or snickers, either might untwist your knickers. Whether with jokes or old-fashioned, well-delivered spokes, whether cute little dogs, hopping frogs on logs, or Charlie Chaplin in cogs, jumping bogs. Activating joy and mirth feeds the brain for all it's worth. Activating mirth and joy makes giddy happy each girl and boy. Laughter can heal even that which you can never conceal. Even babies are fast to laugh, still smiling barely in their cribs. Oh, the funny faces tickle their tiny ribs. Activating joy and mirth feeds the brain for all it's worth. Activating mirth and joy makes giddy happy every girl and boy. Physiologists acknowledge this, a complex set of muscles, they insist, developing muscles that work at great lengths and go on to develop upper body strengths. Laughter, doing, or even observing involves quite a few muscles we're observing. Great chunks of brain will ne'er complain. Motor cortex controls the muscles, the frontal lobes which provide the reasons whether jokes be told in or out of season. The limbic system, which modulates when you get to feel just great. Connecting all these many systems, sit back, enjoy, don't resist them. Activating joy and mirth feeds the brain for all it's worth. Activating mirth and joy makes giddy happy each girl and boy. Social intelligence and a sense of humor can certainly squash the depths of ill humor. Incongruity and absurdity are daily companions. Laughter creates bonds and increases intimacy with its own very special mimicry. Early in life, infants' laughter is an external sign of pleasure, the kind that moms and daddies treasure. Public speakers and comedians try to get a laugh to make audiences feel closer to them by half. Amusement, happiness, mirth, and joy builds resiliency, increases creative thinking, brings out the best in us even when things are good and stinking. Activating joy and mirth feeds the brain for all it's worth. Activating mirth and joy makes giddy happy each girl and boy. Thank you, my friends.
There's no such thing as a joke out of season with you. I'm listening to your poetry and I felt like I'm back in the 80s in a aerobics class, and we're about to work. We're in a class with Richard and we're about to work out our face by smiling and laughing at jokes. That's brilliant. Did I hear correctly? Charlie Chaplin in clogs?
Jumping bogs, no less.
Who the heck thinks of that? That's brilliant. That's why you got the brain hat. See, this is why you have the brain.
Wonderful, wonderful caps, Richard sir. I was just noticing that cap right since you joined. My God, I need one like that. It gives you some extra brains, you know. Gives you some extra curves in the brains. Oh my God!
I got the upgrade.
Richard,
yeah.
I think you're onto something. You could make a mint selling those hats. Yeah. Oh, what a line! All those lines. But man, I felt like it's a laugh workout when you're reciting, my friend. It's brilliant that you can get us to look at subjects that are touchy and deep in a different way through humor, and then just your pure poetry of jokes and humor is brilliant. Brilliant. I love you. Hat and all. I love you. All right. From brilliance to brilliance. Principe, another young poet that's, I believe, that stepped into another level of his understanding of himself in poetry. The mic is yours, my friend.
Thank you. I will be sharing two poems. The first poem is called Human Family. a long line of ancestors strung together on a timeline. Some are from Honduras, others are from the US, even have some from Haiti. It brings to mind people get carried by my race, some in the category of, I know you're Black, but where are you, folk? A few ask, are you from Africa? They want to know what's stored in my structural store of my DNA. Like a pincer is always pinching tightly on the kaleidoscope of my mind. Got me wondering, where did my answers come from? I don't know much other than what I know. Why does race matter? We're all human. Race is a dangerous game that some aims to shoot for, putting people in places that not all can fit in. How fitting. I can't fit in. When comment around common people, got answers that look Black but speak Spanish. Some on the dodge roll. No matter where we come from, we're all human. That's the first poem. That poem is called Distant Memories. Burning lights under the eyes of a young man. Fire blooming never was there. It was bare at the rind of a bald head. I was carefree out the sun in my mother's life, watching Power Rangers on the TV set, Happy Meals, filtered out the timeline of my youth. Everything was analog, memories written like a blog, silhouetted souls from my past. They were in the framework of my mind, straight line, no missing pieces, just lost loved ones who glide in the cosmos, the ones that love me, teachers I can't forget, filled with wit. On the last day of 5th grade, I bawled my eyes out. High school was a days in my rhyme book, listening to people snap their fingers. The warm-up was cooking. The year I graduated, sparking the gradual rise of a famous rapper. In my adult years, I think back to those montage of memories as a distant memory. Thank you. In the poem.
High school was a day, a days, not a day, a days in my line book. That's a really good poem, my friend. Both
Thank
of them.
you.
That last one, yeah. That sense of longing and nostalgia, missing the simplicity of life. Well done. Good job. Good job. And you're getting better every time you recite. It sounds better and better. Keep it up. Here's a young man that's looking for mentors and writers. I'm not a writer, so, but if anyone has some time to help him be a better writer, please do. He's open. So well done, Principe. All right, from brilliance to brilliance. Up next, I kind of, in a lighthearted way, threatened him. He had to be back this month, because last month he gave us part 1 of this brilliant story. So this is purely selfish because I want to hear it. Anyway, our friend Jeff Taylor from the Boston area. The mic is yours, my friend.
Thank you, Raul. I appreciate you threatening me to making sure that I get here for this one, because it's great for me. I'm glad to read both parts of the poem, and I'd like to dedicate this one to both Serene and the feature from last month, the Love Infinite. This is the second part, and it kind of connects those two beautiful poets, and so hopefully maybe people will go back, and if they didn't see last month's, they'll check out last month's show as well and connect those dots. But here we go. This one is American Bricks Struggling with Paradox. It is part 2 of Struggling with Zeno's Paradox. The first brick refuses to buy a microwave. He says because of the radiation, but I know his family owns a toaster oven factory. The second brick became internet famous for getting smashed over the head with a vanilla milkshake He tried to sell me a bottle of ivermectin, autographed by Joe Rogan. Ah. The fourth brick has a family history of being the fourth brick. Her grandfather was originally intended for the Berlin Wall, but was redirected to a blood bank in Detroit. She refuses to see the angle of her view has shifted, even though she's pivoting from the same place. Brick 8 sits on the toilet retweeting Elon Musk. He claims to be advocating for free speech and decentralized banking, but I think he just likes smelling his own shit. The 16th brick got on a bus, chartered to DC, but was left behind in Atlanta when he went out for a cigarette. I'm still trying to figure out how he wound up being thrown at a cop in Boston. Brick 32 is a paid informant. He took online swimming classes when the pandemic hit, but almost drowned because his connection sucked. Brick 64 unwittingly befriended an alt-right troll while volunteering at a soup kitchen. I've only ever heard them talk about addiction. Brick 128 thinks he's doing it for different reasons than his white separatist friends, but I've told him that's mental masturbation. Brick 256 wants to start a riot so widespread we'd have no choice but to start over, just so he can say he owned the libs. He disappears before I can respond. Brick 512 tried to overthrow the government. Nobody seemed to care or notice. Their numbers have been doubling for generations. Boom.
That's brilliant.
Thank you, Raw.
That's
I'll just do those. I'll just do that one.
Yeah. That's it.
I'll just do that. Well, I guess I have one that kind of is not a part of that poem, but it kind of is.
Yep.
If you got it, it's a shorter one.
No, go, please.
It's called Stitches, and a lot of times I put it between these two poems. A man walks up to you, cuts out his tongue, then holds up a sign asking for the last word you heard. You think, board games at a time like this? No. Remembering what to do, you take a deck of cards from your back pocket and deal a quick hand of blackjack. Still thinking, not talking. This should help us get down to it. That is, if you were meant to know. The man with a mouthful of blood turns over 2 5s and taps on each one once. Realizing he was not meant to know, you pick the cards up off the ground, carefully, sew his tongue back on, hand him the deck, and walk away. Oddly enough, you still see him, the man they've since called Stitches, running 3-card Monty on that very corner. You can only assume he's still waiting for the answer.
So we have a brick that's imitating Elon Musk on the toilet. Brick 32 is an informant, a paid informant. The creativity. Richard, I think he deserves a brain hat. What do you think? The creativity on those pieces and the humor that you use. But there's so much real life in that story. I like I said last month, you give us an insight to who you are in the area, in that Boston area that you grew up in, then just the creativity to align bricks with life. That's brilliant, my friend. Brilliant.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, Raw.
So enjoyed. I'm so glad you took my threat so lightheartedly and decided to show up. I'll have to call the boys and
It
tell
was a
them.
great honor. It was more of an honor than a threat, but thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, I'll put the call out to the boys now to turn around. So well done. Well done. You've done your family and your area proud. I so enjoy listening to you. You're a great storyteller, my friend. You're a good storyteller. Really enjoyed that. Thank you so much. All right, from brilliance to brilliance. Excuse me. We're into the last four, ladies and gentlemen. So, we're starting to put the landing gear down. We'll be, as Neil says, having a control crash very soon. So, up next, though, we have our friend, Mr. Potastic, another rhymer. The mic is yours.
Thank you, my bro, like no other with words like thunder. Thank you for being so enthusiastic. Thank you for being real than plastic. Oh, Serene, you and your words are beautiful in every shape and form. Thank you for being the sun in the storm. All right, my name is Ed Potastic, feeling fantastic. Please anytime you could join my rhyme for sublime. I got two pieces, so I won't take too much time. The first piece is actually as a part of Women's History Month. This is called Muddy Love. When I was a boy, you're my nurse, teacher, and friend. Now that I'm older, I still can't fully comprehend. How can one woman always be there for me? She did what she could, even I could see. We're the fruit while moms are the trees. Moms are always the busiest of the worker bees. There's no love like a mother's heart, a love that lives and breathes in our art. And mother love never changes for all time. It only gets stronger and stronger while it shines. Moms need to be celebrated each and every day. Without them, where could we run, stay, or play? If you don't have your mom but only your dad, it's okay. Love them too and don't be sad. Moms have hearts full of devotion, dedication, affection that never ends. A river of love always flows over, and over again. We're a big part of her while she's a big part of you. I think that's why we're red and rarely blue. Mom, you're not just my mom, but also my dad. You're an experience that no kid could ever have, which made me glad. Moms, thank you for not stop loving us. Don't worry, all this love is going to make us bust. Moms, there are no easy words for how much we love you. Hope these words resonate and stick inside you like glue. Thank you so much for answering our big and little calls. Your immeasurable love, moms, and we thank you for it all. Thank you. And I got one more. This is called Guys Love. You possess an undefined natural and organic beauty. You dance around the bright sun on important duty. Your eyes, the great lakes, colored in sparkling blue. Your tears are sweeter than strawberries, blueberries, and honeydews. Your body is a wonderland full of sublime and wonderful delights. You give us warming sunlight to help our darkest sight. Your skin is earthly, smooth, and grounded, unlike the vast deserts. You just give till it hurts. Your children are vivid, rooted, fluorescent trees and flowers. They stand healthy, grounded, and sturdy with unique powers. Your age is vast compared to the far reaches of deep, dark space. I didn't say ancient. Oh, wait. Is that teardrop or a river flow across your face? You're more powerful than any earthquake, tsunami, or hurricane. You burn us with your toxic fumes, endless cuttings, and rumbling pains. Your rage is a roaring, unpredictable, and screaming volcano spewing molten lava. Sometimes you create clouds, dropping clear, refreshing, rejuvenating Java. Your love is surreal, vivid, and deeper than our baby blue skies. You feed, nurture, and grow us, the pesky flies. Hope this poem does you justice because it's coming from a microscopic soul. Thank you for the gifts of diamonds, rubies, irons, titaniums, coppers, silvers, and golds. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you for the reminder of a mother's love. I always say, I tell my kids, I didn't get a good mom, I didn't get a bad mom. I just got a mom. And I wouldn't trade my mom in for anything. It's the most courageous and strongest woman I know. So thank you for that reminder, Ed. And Yeah, you notice I didn't mention March is International Women's Month because just like Black History Month, you're women 365 every day. And if we haven't figured it out yet, there isn't a living, breathing member of our species that hasn't come through woman. We'll never get it. So I celebrate woman every day. Every breath I take is in celebration of my mother who gave birth to me. So thanks for that reminder, Eddy. Thank you for that reminder. Like I said, I love your rhyming stuff, but I love when you get when you get serious. You know, I love your serious stuff. There's beauty to it. And thank you for coming out and giving us that big smile.
Wait until Wednesday, my friend, to the very end.
All right. Love you, brother. Good to see your face. We should get caught up again soon. It's been a while. It's been a while. This, I believe this is the first time this person has been to this show. I'm pretty sure he's here for Serene, but I'm glad that he's decided to honor the Inspired Poetry Corner. I don't get to hear him recite much, but whenever I do, it's also very fitting for whatever reason. He has a way of pulling out poetry that fits the moment and the time. I speak of Lakan, the mastermind behind PGN. The mic is yours. There he is. There you are. How fitting the sun is shining on your face.
Hello. I'm so happy about Serene. Serene is amazing.
No, I mean, I'm so happy. I'm so proud, and I'm so grateful that I almost literally dragged her out of Instagram back in 2021. Congratulations, dear, on your feature, and like every single moment. No matter how much we are so nervous about our poetry, we should be grateful that we are. Because when we do not feel that scare, it means you don't care anymore. So appreciate that. So, and you are beautiful. As always, she is my absinthe duo. We both love absinthe. So anyway, I'm Lakan, and I am from Pilipinas, or in English, the Philippines, and the Poetry Global Network. Thank you so much for having me today, Raul. And we miss you in BU also. Do drop in whenever you can, and anyone here as well. So I do have two poems for today. First one is something that I have just edited a couple of hours ago, but I wrote it last year. Kind of, it needed to simmer for a few months, and the title is "To Expel." Her cough tasted like a twilight, a bitter war zone of butter, laying cold on a metal hour. 4 a.m. looks at me like a horizon, splitting the breath of my grandmother. She spits coma with each push of air out. My palms pull back to her back as lungs get bombarded with convulsions of cancer, canceling each ray of light still left. You can go now. We'll be all right. Still left my mouth the surrender of a young man to an eventide who refused to set. She can't answer. The dawn in her skin has soared, and the complexion of dusk fell. Still is the moment when death is welcomed. I opened that door in her hands. As I squeezed it tight enough, I love you. And you've loved me much. Warmth was the only language between my lips and her cheek.
right before another round of hacking hacks my heart that knows goodbyes too well. It is more patient than our denials. As the sunrise glints at the window, death smirks. It has heard my grandmother's reply. I'll know her response after breakfast, when grief will be full, and I, ever famished for her mornings. Thank you. I'm a grandmother's boy. She co-raised me. She raised me actually from I was 5 up until I was 11. So when she left, I lost it. Only for a few, because I had to adult and take care of everything. So yeah, I was 20 at that time. And anyway, second poem. I do miss. I kind of miss these poems that I wrote and was published by Tupelo Press in the U.S. And this is one of the poems I wrote, and the title's called "Over Seas." Epigraph. There are estimated to be more than 12 million Filipinos who are working outside the Philippines. That's around 10% of the total population of the country. There are boxes stored in my body, packed in the I love yous my 4 jobs every day makes. It doesn't tire to sleep. 3 hours daily. It is a routine to shackle time longer than the dreams I dream with my children. They're everything to me. Western Unions would know the tears I send to the East. Under each exchange rate, I deposit moments of not graduating from bills, the checkups of real estate, being a missing parent, taking care of others' children, not being the hospice of my own parents, building roads, bridges while my nation is aimless. They call me a hero, you know? Being the Filipino diaspora, of being too away, sacrifice will suffice. Abandoning embraces, kisses that I also deserve. But I had to serve another family, another company, another country. I'm homeless, helpless. If I could choose, I wouldn't go. But my citizenship had to ship me closer to be a slave of saving photographs, videos, Zoom, emails, and phone calls. That is what I have turned to. A scheduled family member that people would remember when my courage should submit that I'm a payment to our poverty's debt. I wish I was free to be welcomed, never to be a flight of being poor, where my luggage can't gauge the birthdays I have lost. Coming home for good means I'll be in another box to bury me as a forgotten who never forgot them by forgetting who I am, so they can find who they are. Maraming salamat. Thank you so much, everyone.
I'm sitting here just shaking my head because I would love my mom to hear that poem. She's not Filipino, and I know many Filipinos have taken that trek. I was watching a documentary a few months back about that. I love the line, I'm now a scheduled family member. That says it all right there. Your wording, 4 a.m. looks at me. We always look at the time, but I loved how you turned that around. How time is an observer of us. That's brilliant. You know, the complexion of dust falls. The complexion of dust. Brilliant. You are a definite philosopher of the day and an observer of life, and having the ability to capture it in a way. I wish my mom could hear that poem, because my mom did that same thing. She left her 3 babies to go raise other children so I could afford and live this life and be able to do what I do. Going back to Eddy's poem, man. We
Mothers.
Mothers and grandmothers. But then to sacrifice so many that try to get to these countries so they know that they have an opportunity to make life better for those that they're leaving behind. Well done. I think that poem should, yeah, that needs to be plastered everywhere. It needs to be plastered everywhere. Thank you. Like I said, every time I hear your words, it's fitting. It's very fitting. Thank you, my friend. Don't see you often, but whenever I do see you, it's a treat. Thank you. Thank you. All right, from brilliance to brilliance. Up next, another brilliant mistress of the words, Lesley Constable. The mic is yours, my friend.
Thank you. I will read just 2. These are older poems, but they still resonate with me. The first one's called This Surface Life. I need a Band-Aid for my wound, which is not visible, but is there nonetheless, the wound of a life well lived. I put it on, this Band-Aid, on the surface of my skin, and know that its healing will reach down into me, and it will be so much better, this wound, the warmth of protection from the Band-Aid, the self-love I send with it, traveling down far and deep to penetrate these pockets of want, these pockets of hurt and ire, of desire unmet, this harm that comes to us all at times from this life lived on the surface of the skin, this edge, our ledge from which we're about to fall, this surface of the earth from where we come and where we now are, us, who are those who breathe air on this surface and sometimes suffer, we who are exposed to the changes hourly at times, the rapid changes, the elements, the whims of the forces at play, those wicked winds that move us, the savage droughts, and we thirst, the fires of our souls, the floods of too much of surface life, the overfull clouds which unleash onto us and seep down, these rains as tears into our bodies, as tears ravaging us as surely as they do the earth, this mother, our skin, this surface life. I need a drink, a cup of tea made hot by water, hard on the boil, this blood boiling, the anger rising hot like sun flares to meet me. Dangerous this sun is, and repel that which would overcome me. I will not yet be overcome. I want to stay and be old, very old, so old that I know what the very old ones know, finally before I sleep. I send a prayer down into the earth, a small thought of protection and love, like the Band-Aid, which sends its message down through the layers to the center, to the heart of me, to the heart of earth, a small message, but strong in its love, strong from the heart to the heart. It will heal this surface life. It will heal us. It will heal itself to do more harm to that which is below. And the second one, I always see these as companion pieces, deep bow. It is not possible to bow enough to the grace of existence. The back bows under the weight, the resignation that, yes, with that which we sometimes carry, the weight of our lives and each burden along the way, it could break this back, as sometimes it feels, as sometimes you cry out in this exquisite pain for how tender and heavy and torn is this back, the muscles strained, the ligaments torn, how weary are the bones that hold it up, this back which holds you up, for it is heavy, the weight on this back that cries out for succor. Socorro, it cries out to the heavens, cries out to the gods, to the heavens for support, but they're not there, these gods, not in the clouds, and do not hear you. Not up above or haloed, not dancing with the angels, these gods of your back who guard it, but below in the earth, deep there in the earth, planted and growing and alive and still as they always were, as they always have been and will be, these gods, like the bones of our dead, and the trees, the silt, the blood, the hair, as it washes down from the rain, the roots which go down and run deep underground, the bones of our gods, not the gods of others who we don't know, but ours, our gods, roots which lace and intertwine with the soil and hold us up. And it is there, this response now to our cries which we hear, which comes up to us from below. It has been there all this while, waiting for us, a song, a sigh, a mere whisper, light and straight as the willow branch and as live, moving and bending with each breath of breeze, the wind strong at our backs, or calm as a whisper, unfurled as branches to the sky and light now. And with no pain, we straighten and know this. This is what we know. The back supported is the back that will bow. Yes, it is the back then which is able to bow even more deeply to life. So that's it for me. Thanks.
Such rich, rich poetry. Right? To me, both pieces are summarized. The wound of a life well lived. The wound of a life well lived. I think that's all of our lives, if you really think about it. The broken-hearted walk is what unleashes the wisdoms that we seek.
Well, that is a word.
It's beautiful, beautiful, Lesley. Great words. I've heard those pieces before, but like I said, that's why I always tell poets, don't ever apologize for reciting poetry that you recited before, because you hear something different every time. I don't know if I picked up on that the first time I heard it, but that definitely resonated for whatever reason today. The wound of a life well lived. That's why I asked Serene that question, if we were to meet God at the pearly gates. Well lived. This is the harsh experiences that our resiliency comes from. Well done, Lesley. I love the way you capture life in the poetic way. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. Last but not least, our good friend from Brilliance to Brilliance, anchoring the show. Henry, my friend, the mic is yours.
Hey, everyone. Going to take you home with this one poem, just one. This poem, I don't believe I've read it at any forum. And, you know, I think it connects with a lot of what I've heard from Serene, your wonderful set, and everyone else, especially Rick's brain piece, because I was like, oh my gosh. It is a poem that is also, I have an exhibit coming up at a university here, and as an artist, we have to send out a proposal and basically tell them what you're going to do. And I came up with, it's a show about with the theme of reality, perceptions of reality. And this piece is somewhat of a combination of performance art, sculpture, and painting. I'm creating 3 pieces for this show that's opening in July, and I'd hope to bring it back. So I'm reading to you the literary segment of it. It is titled Broken Mind, Nothing to Do with Feeling Blue or the Blues. They say, my broken mind is like a shattered vase of memories. Unglued remnants scattered on the floor. Time to sweep up the mess, looking for hiding images, ceramic pieces of a puzzle. Unsolvable after weeks of moving hints around, so much is unclear from the edge. They believe unable to salvage this vessel or consider still beautiful and useful, once a mind for flowers, colors, and scents which inspired smiles, love, and joy. Even romantic lures of passion, when a couple heard ecstasy scream, they looked and came together searching for love or lust, and then floated in a pool of sweat, holding on to each other so no one would fall and break like this precious vase did. Together they felt whole, even for a moment. I searched for such a moment. But when you touch this broken container of what once was me and my mind, superglued with sticky fingers, there's no wholeness or healing. You can see and trace my hairline cracks, those surfaces, roadways to twilight zones, and find my uneven, fragmented fears, sharp enough to cut your fingers to become a bloody sacrifice for the gods, which become lies and forsaken promises. I can't be filled with love or water. No one even tries. No matter how much I thirst to feel real, I'm alone and lonely, surrounded by people, but wanting to wander, to find myself again outside. But I must stay near them, who don't understand my struggles, because you're never the same after you fall and break. What they tried to pick up weren't bones, but splinters of thoughts of me. Framed from cords of wood, I was once strong and hard, a warrior, now dry and aged, ready for flames. A fiery idea from my muse, for inspirations or insight. Instead, I see burning acres, a silent wildfire consuming me inside. Charred remains becoming flying flakes, drifting away my thoughts and dreams as lost connections of my brain's gray matter unfolds and becomes old road trails where I get lost but try to find my way back. Then I hear that constant whispers from them talking about Alzheimer's or broken mind mentioned between their words, discussing frustrating days with me and my distortions of reality. I want to stand up and just shout, I am here! But can't. I don't know if it's due to fear or if they're right. Something is missing. But I keep listening. My twists become the stray remains of my past transformed into a rope, which I bravely grasp with my fingers, like hanging from a mountain's cliff, while chanting to myself inside, don't let go, don't let go, don't let go, don't let go, constantly echoed in my broken mind.
What am I supposed to do with that?
Thank you.
You're reading that, and I remember watching a movie with a scene of an old horse trainer talking to a man who wants to do well in the horse business as a racer. And they're talking about this old horse that used to race back in the day. He's sitting in the field with a campfire. He's kind of maybe homeless, like a hobo type of guy. But anyway, he's sitting there. And the owner comes up to him, wants to talk to him about training. And he goes, how come you haven't gotten rid of this horse? You haven't killed this horse? He goes, yeah, he may be old. He can't race anymore, but he's still beautiful to look at. That's what that poem reminded me of. It's like we get old and we were quick to want to discard the old and not realizing the beauty of getting older, being old. I'll say it the only way I know how. I think that's probably the best piece you've written.
Thank you.
Oh
Well,
my
when you
gosh.
see the artwork that I create in conjunction to that and how the words are going to be coming from the piece,
I can only
I hope to have a similar effect on the viewers.
can only imagine. That's why I said, what am I supposed to do with that? That's I've heard many of your pieces now, like many of us. That's just brilliant. The way you captured it and then the way you ended it. Just hold on, hold on. Ah. Thank you, Henry. Thank you. I just got a blast of goddess bumps. That was the most powerful piece. It's the most powerful piece. And as a piece that I hope the young ones that do come to this exhibit really stop and take home to it, because I don't know, when we were young, how did we look at the elders? I was raised to respect my elders. I like to think I did a pretty good job of that. Anyway, my friend, well done. Well done. Thank you. Thank you for again being willing to be the one that brought us home the last piece. That's the end of our show, ladies and gentlemen. I was going to read a piece, but you know what? I don't feel like it. My poetry is in this, in us coming together. And I want to leave it at that, because I think Henry's piece is just a brilliant way to end this show. But I will say thank you to my good friend, Serene Poet. You are a poet. But Serene, for that vulnerability, for the softness, for being nervous, for being unsure, and putting it out there as you. Too many times we get caught up in we look at other people and go, oh, what a great performance, great read. That was beautiful because that was you. That's where you are. Embrace it. That was a beautiful set, a beautiful example of being vulnerable, being nervous, being scared, all wrapped up in one, and just saying, fuck it, I'm going to put it out there anyway. So good for you. Thank you to Alexandra, to Laura, to Doc, to Suzanne, to Debdoot, Neil, Jennifer, Brian Franco, the General, Ian Mack, the Velvet Voice, Lantern Carrier, our noted sage, the Brainiac himself, Richard, Principe, this young voice. I think I saw Henry wrote something. Principe, your words, it gives me a hunger. I want more. Jeff, your storytelling, my brother, brilliant. Eddy, known for his rhyming, but like I said, your serious stuff is just breathtaking. And Lakan, I know you're gone. I know you had to go and attend another event, but the depth of your work just blows my mind. Lesley, just that poetic voice of life itself. And then Henry, the elder that brings it home, that keeps it real, that invitation for us to look at life and to embrace all of it in a different way. And so good to hear voices like Jennifer again and see that smile. It's been a while. People praise me for what I do. No, this does not happen without you. I just took the opportunity as an organizer to say, hey, poets, come, let's hang out on a Sunday and experience our version of a Sunday kind of love. I know my show runs long. I'm not going to apologize for it. It's an opportunity for us to slow down in this crazy world. That's why Henry's poem was so poignant. It's an opportunity for us to embrace and take a moment to be mindful and take a number of moments to be mindful in this crazy world that we live in today. And the craziness is not just us, technology and everything that we could look at from a negative are the same things that allows us to connect, because without this, we don't connect the way we do. So I thank you. I am grateful. I'm grateful for the Inspired Poetry Corner. More importantly, I'm grateful for you for making the Inspired Poetry Corner. I am because you are. I love you all. Not just as poets, not just as a man or a woman. The fact that you're human like me inspires me, because I am a member of a species that can write poetry. And I
Thank you, brother.
Thank you. I love you all.
Thank you.
Yes,
Love
thank
you
you for
guys all
keeping us
too.
Blessed
alive.
friend Genevieve
Love you
says,
too, man.
now your Sunday can begin.
More coffee.
More coffee. Well done. Love you all. And for those
That's right. Coffee. Bye-bye.
Love you all. Thank you for
Love you all.
coming.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing it.
Thank you, Raleigh.
Bye-bye.
Love you all.
Bye.
Love you all. Bye. Bye.